Welcome, I'm Amy Walker. I'm a client acquisition specialist, and my job is to help you find the simplest path to consistently finding your dream clients. And I'm here today with Stu Heinecke, who is one of my favorite marketing gurus. Stu is the author of How to Get a Meeting with Anyone, and he is the father of contact marketing and a cartoonist by trade. If you're just joining us right now, this is the third video in the series. I recommend that you do go back and watch them in order. But in this video, we are going to be talking about we're going to be talking about profile scrape campaigns. So how do we create a new online connection and turn it into an actual relationship without just spamming people's inboxes?
Yeah, sort of the anti-automation
Yeah.
solution, because we're certainly getting a lot of those on LinkedIn.
Yes.
So we've been talking about desktop contact campaigns, and we showed the cartoon cards before, the bottomless box cartoons before, and they have a really specific mission of getting people to call us back and to unstick stalled proposals and so on, thank people. But there's another side to this, which is, we're all on LinkedIn and the other social media platforms. I guess my focus has always been, for business anyway, has been LinkedIn. So the thing that I noticed is that when we connect with people, so we say, oh, there's someone who's interesting, or here's someone I've been I just found this person, I've loved their book, or something like that, or I'd like to connect with them because maybe I'd like to sell to them. I don't know, but if you send I guess, what do we got? Connection request, and they accept it, you're not connected.
Right.
That's just not a connection.
Right.
I said in my books that it's like seeing someone going down the other direction on the freeway and going, hey, and then poof, it's over, and then you see 10 more people. Oh yeah, hey, how are you? And there is almost no weight of significance to connecting on LinkedIn. That's a start of something, but if you don't do anything else, then it's forgotten immediately. And so we need to do other things to engage. Now, some people pitch right away. And I would say those people get pitched into the ocean right away.
Yeah.
Because that's just not, you haven't earned the right yet to do that. You have to earn that right. And if you're going to connect on LinkedIn or in social media. So you don't want to do that, but you do want to create a connection. And I think that the thing that's really essential here is you've got to connect on other levels or in other modes of communication. So I guess probably the simplest one is to jump to DM, to direct message, and ask a question. Hey, when you said this, or when in your comment over here, or in your book you said this, or I read your book and I love it, and that's a start. And that will start a connection. Hey, could I connect with you sometime? Because, I wanted to ask a question. Those do start to create real connections. But I'm saying, though, that we want to be multimodal in our communication. So I think one of the things that we should do as well is take advantage of the mail, right? I mean, we were just talking about this. You can send a greeting card, which incorporates a handwritten note and personalization. And those are two of the factors that have defined the most effective campaigns that I'm seeing in all of my research for contact marketing. So when we get to launch them from our desktop PCs, it's really cool. Now, here's the really cool thing is, well, when we profile scrapes are about scraping information from people's profiles. It's really easy to do. I mean, and there are tools you can use as well, but if you go to someone's profile, one of the first things you can do is download their picture. And I think it's a lot of fun to take that picture and do some interesting things. So I'd love to show you. Can I show you a couple of examples?
Yeah.
So let's say we grabbed Sue Smith's, this is all fictional, of course, but Sue Smith's profile picture. And here's a really cool thing. I'm not I'm not affiliated with Envato at all, but if you go to the Envato site and you go to elements, there are all these, they're called action sets, but they're these scripts, or we'll call them filters, that you use within Photoshop. And so you could take someone's picture, for example, and turn it into, so I took one of those filters, and I don't know if we're getting a moire pattern, if you could see it, but I turned it into one of those engraved style of renderings that you see. I mean, whenever there's a portrait in the Wall Street Journal, that's the style of it.
Uh-huh.
And so you can turn someone's profile picture into one of those engraved pictures. That's pretty cool.
Mhm.
And in fact, I took it a step further and turned it into, like a clipping from the Wall Street Journal. And so there's Sue's picture, and then the whole story that surrounds her picture is a story of her meeting with you, the sender.
Uh-huh.
So that was kind of cool. But really, it's an invitation to play,
Right.
and to use the person's profile pictures in a lot of different ways. I have a video I could share with you if you'd like to see that.
Absolutely. Let's watch it.
Okay. Okay. So here's how it works. You can launch powerful, highly personalized contact campaigns from your desktop computer and laser printer. Since cards are visual, we'll focus on the use of profile pictures to break through. Start by visiting the target prospect's social media accounts to grab a good picture to work with. Here, we're working with Sue's profile picture on LinkedIn, then dragging it to the desktop. This will be our base picture for the cards. The first thing we're going to do is run the Envato Worn Press Photoshop effect on Sue's picture. As you can see, it does a convincing job of turning her profile picture into a Wall Street Journal style illustration. We'll then import the engraved picture into an InDesign file we've already set up with the sender's info and logo on the rear panel. We'll adjust the size, then add a text box to add Sue's name to the card. And finally, add an underscore like they do in the journal. Let's print it out and see what we've got. I'm lining it up to trim to 10 inches, then 7. Remember, this will fold down to a 5-inch by 7-inch card. Then scoring the card, all right, that's pretty cool, but it gives me an idea. Let's try something. Here's another card I set up to look like a clipping from the Wall Street Journal. It looks more realistic and more interesting. What I really like is how it gives me the opportunity to weave Sue's name and company info throughout the story, along with the sender's name. In fact, the whole story is about Sue taking a meeting with the sender. Pretty cool. But that brings up an important point. This card has a background color going right to the edge of the card. In printer's terms, that's what's known as a bleed. And the bleed means we have to turn the card into a 4-trim piece, which makes it a little bit harder to work with. But the results are worth the trouble. Let's print this one out and see what we've got. It's looking great, but remember that 4-trim setup? So that means I have to keep in mind the first trim is at 10.5 inches, the second cut at 10 inches, then the third cut will be at 7 3/4, and the final cut at 7 inches. Remember, we're releasing a 10 by 7 card from the center of the page. Still, that's a pretty sharp card. I can imagine a pretty positive response from Sue. Let's try a new one, this time with the charcoal Photoshop action from the Envato collection. Here's Sue's original profile photo, and here it is with the charcoal effect applied. Now let's place it in the InDesign file we've set up. So for this card, we'll trim the art along the fold, and notice at the top and bottom there's no bleed, but there is along the right-hand side of the card. Leave a bit of art on that side to trim off. Notice this is a 2-cut setup, meaning the card is positioned into the corner of the page, so you only have to make 2 cuts. This simplifies trimming the card once printed. Just make the first cut at 10 inches and the second at 7 inches. Okay, that one's not bad. The point is to experiment with these and find your favorite effects. Okay, I'm anxious to try this painting effect. Look how amazing that looks. Here's Sue's original picture, and here it is with the painting effect applied. I'm not so excited about this one after all. And look what happens when we don't pay attention to bleeds. The printer cut the art off the top of the page. You'll need to pay attention to bleeds and 4-cut versus 2-cut setups. I'm also anxious to give this double exposure action a try, because I noticed on Sue's profile she had a photo of tulips with weeds growing underneath. They must mean something to Sue, so combining them should have a powerful effect. I like this effect. This is a keeper. I can see using this whenever a prospect has a clear interest in a hobby, a pet, or a favorite city. Profile scrapes, and especially profile pictures, give you lots of opportunities to use cards and handwritten messages to break through. Use what I've shown you here, but experiment and find your own most effective contact campaigns. Are you ready? Let's get going. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, and then how do you want to come back in from this one? Do you just want to bring us back in?
Yeah, okay. So as you can see, you grab the person's picture and you can build all kinds of themes around it or effects around it. I mean, one of my favorites are the ones I just showed you was doing a double exposure. So in that fictional profile of Sue's, I noticed that she had her picture there, but she also had tulips. And so I just did a double exposure. I figured that tulips must mean something to her. So that's kind of a cool thing. You get to play with these filters and just produce the most incredible things, with caricatures and all sorts of things. And in fact, I put together a summary sheet for all of this. So there's links to all of the stuff that we've been talking about in the 3-part series. And so I'm not sure how you'd like to do it, but we have a summary to give them. And there's maybe they get in touch with you, Amy, to request it. And anyway, it's just a PDF, but it has all these links to all kinds of, for example, just the one that we've just talked about, all of the effects in the Envato collection. I think they're something, I don't know, they might be $5 or $20. They're really cheap, $20 maybe to buy one of these effects. You might want to have someone who knows Photoshop pretty well help you with it, but they're pretty cool. You could turn anybody's profile picture into so many, caricatures and those all kinds of portraiture and oil paintings and so on. It's really cool. So I think that's a great way to take somebody's information and do something interesting and creative with it, because you'll touch them. It's pretty obvious that this is not a card that you went to the store and bought.
Right. It's done intentionally. Okay,
Yeah.
so I have to ask this question. Do you ever have people, because when I was seeing this, I was like, is that creepy? Like, where's the line between creepy with getting people's information online and impressive? Do you know what I mean? Does anyone ever come up, or am I thinking of things that don't exist?
Well, I guess it does depend on what you do with it. But if you, for example, if you turned their picture, one of those Envato action sets will turn someone's picture into a caricature. I just think I don't know, I think they're pretty cool. But I guess the more you dig in and you exhibit, let's say maybe personal things, that might, I don't know, may or may not, it's hard to say, because we're all driven by our egos. That information, our pictures are out there. So when someone, in fact, you can probably see this over my shoulder. Someone took one of my pictures and turned it into a rendering. I thought, okay, that's kind of,
I can see that.
Kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I guess be creative. I'll tell you one thing that would be really cool is if you poke around on let's say their Facebook page, and you find, let's say, a picture of their dog. Well, I think you could do some really cool things with pictures of their dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if they were shown skiing, then if someone put up a picture of them skiing, they love skiing then. And so doing something with that picture, something, creative and interesting, I think is kind of a cool thing.
Well, and I mean, it really all comes back to the whole purpose of contact marketing is to put a lot of intention on one person so that they feel special, they feel unique, they feel like you really want to talk with them, as opposed to I'm just doing this for everybody and hoping that some people show up. So I think it's a great balance. Even if you look at, more of the lead generation heavy focused marketing, to be able to follow that up with, now let's build relationships. We just got these leads. We've been having this conversation lately about how many leads we need to generate next year to hit our sales goals. And as we're talking, I'm like, if we were doing more of this, that number would be lower. because Because right now it takes so much time and energy to find the right ones within those leads that we capture. Like I'm seeing a lot of potential for mixing the two. So in the last conversation, the last video number 2, we talked a little bit about the bottomless box, and we got to show that. And really what that is that's your opportunity. It's your program that you've made to help people be able to access content marketing for significantly less than what some of the more expensive campaigns do. We're going to drop a link below, and I encourage you guys to go check it out, learn more about the bottomless box so that you can, from your desktop, run these customized cartoon campaigns to be able to reach your contacts and get more meetings. So Stu, thank you so much for being on with us and for creating this series. Every time we talk, I'm so excited about the things that you're up to and all that you're working on.
I love hanging out with you, Amy. So I had a blast. Thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you. And for all of you that are watching, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe, hit the bell notification so you know every time we release new content, which is 3 times a week. We're bringing you great resources to grow your business. And make sure you go check out Stu and his books and the bottomless box and just get plugged into his space. Because I really am not lying when I tell you this is the #1 book that I recommend to people when they're stuck with their marketing and they're struggling because they don't have a huge budget and they don't have a ton of time. This is the strategy that I recommend is contact marketing. So Stu, thank you so much for being on with us today.
Thanks so much, Amy. We'll see you.
All right.
All right, cool.
Awesome. Thank you.
Good. Hope that all worked out. We got it in one take.
Yeah.
Well, except in the beginning. But
yeah, the edits go pretty easy. So we'll just put in our little, intro thing and just roll it and pop in the videos and it will be all set to go.
That's great. Hey, by the way, I did that video box in partnership with you via us.
Uh-huh.
And if you ever decided that you were going to post about it, would you let me know? Because I want to let them know. They'll be thrilled. Yeah. You know what I did? I wanted to just explain that, or did I? I don't know if I did. That there's that etching on the outer box.
Yeah.
Did I explain that that's laser etched?
Yeah, it's really
We were playing around with that. They had said, no, we've never laser etched cardboard. We have no idea what it'll do, but I thought, man, what a cool effect.
Good. I thought it was really good. Awesome.
Neat. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Amy. When I should also publicize it or socialize it too.
Wednesday is when they're going to.
Next Wednesday. Okay.
Yeah, and they'll come out at like 1 p.m. Eastern.
Okay. I'm sure Stephen will remind me too, but that's great. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Reminders. So.
And I'll get, I've talked to Stephen about it. I'll get a sort of Google form up for the, where did that go? For this guy. And if I can, I'll see what else I can do. But there is a little bit of time.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
All right.
Thank you so much, Amy.
We'll talk to you later.
All right, we'll see you.
Bye.
Bye now.